It's much more like the process of being an engineer, using the science, but now using it in a way that allows us to predict and observe and explain and test and redesign and so on. So it's a different kind of process. So if we're doing all that, let's see if we can characterize that as something a bit different. The community of practice now, innovating, testing and sharing new ideas for effective pedagogical designs, is something like a design, test, redesign cycle, where you begin by browsing to see what other people have done. And in the context of science and the discovery of science and scholarly knowledge, then we certainly never begin to do any research or write a paper without seeing what other people have done. It's very important to do that literature review first, build what you're doing on what has gone before. In teaching, we don't do that so much, but teaching as a design science would say, see what other people have done, see what you can take and build, adapt that, create your own, review it, redesign it, test it with your students, go round that cycle a few times until you're happy with something, and then publish it. Now, publishing your teaching ideas is not something that we've done a great deal of. But when you do that, it means that other people can discover that, build on what you've done, and go round that cycle again. So it's a little like building scientific knowledge in the way that we do in the context of scholarly journals. Now we're thinking about ideas for effective pedagogic design and building learning technology knowledge, because it's so hard to do. It keeps changing. The technology is going to carry on changing as much as it has done over the past few years, and we've all got to work together to be able to figure out how to use it best. We've now got learning analytics to help us in some of that process. If we're in charge of it, that's fine. So what I think we need to do now is to professionalize teaching in just the same way as we did research. Over the last 100 years or so, we've professionalized research in a quite elaborate and significant way. Surely we now need to do that with teaching, because it is now so complex. Teachers are ready, they're hungry to be able to do something like this, to be able to express their ideas and collaborate. Of course, they worry about it being time-consuming, but this is where I think if we target this kind of effort on the particularly difficult areas of our curriculum, then we begin to get the real benefits from collaboration and from technology. So, is collaborative learning feasible? Yes, I think it is. And I think it's the only viable approach we have if we're going to have a sustainable approach to change and innovation. I think the important thing to think about is the approach to change and innovation. And the most important thing is to trust the teachers. And this is not any longer a situation in which we can envisage professional development as being something where you go on a workshop or an away day to learn about something and then you apply it. And that's it for another year. It's not going to be like that. I suspect in Singapore it's never been like that. You've done a lot better on teacher professional development than we have in the UK, I'm perfectly sure of that. But we don't trust the teachers enough. We don't say, here you are, you've got to figure this out, you know about pedagogy, you know about what your students need, you take the reins of responsibility to now start designing what we need in the context of digital tools. Now, whatever we apply to our students, we should surely apply to ourselves. We talk about the importance of collaborative learning for our students, we should apply that to ourselves. The importance of constructivist learning, of inquiry-based learning, we should apply that to ourselves as professionals. So just remember the teachers can do it for themselves. They don't have to be told, and anyway, who's going to tell them? Who's already done all that analysis of what the next technology is going to be that's going to hit us next week and how that could be used in education? We've got to recruit the entire teaching workforce into experimenting and playing with these new ideas and then sharing them among us. So empowering the community of teachers to learn, discover, adapt, create, measure, test, redesign, share, that's what means we're a profession operating together. It's what Mike referred to yesterday as collaborative efficacy. Self-efficacy is a very important concept, and that I think teachers need as well. But this collaborative efficacy, where we understand how we can come together to learn this, is just as important. And then innovation becomes sustainable. And I don't know how else we're going to do it, because there isn't the time or the means for anybody else to do it for us. Just to return to that question I had before, what is the teaching design equivalent of the scholarly journal? And the answer, I think, is it's online, collaborative community, sharing testable, open, co-designed, peer-reviewed, adaptable learning designs, and that's how we build learning technology knowledge. That's the book it came from, Teaching as a Design Science, and I think we talk a lot about learning in the 21st century. Let's think about teaching in the 21st century. It's going to mean teachers discovering new digital pedagogies, being supported in that innovative process, being recognized as design professionals, and doing peer development, professional development through peer collaboration. Because who else is going to develop the new digital pedagogies? It has to be the teaching profession doing it for itself. Are we going to wait for Google and Microsoft and various other kinds of publishers to do it for us? Who knows what students need? We're with the students every day in the classroom. It's teachers who know that. So to summarize, I've tried to argue that technology helps us increase active learning. It enhances all subjects and types of learning, and collaborative innovation by teachers is viable. So what teachers need is support from their leaders, certainly. They need something like the online design tools that I've been demonstrating. They certainly need those communities of practice so that we begin to understand and collaborate on how to develop blended learning. And this means then, finally, recognition for teaching as a design science and for teachers as designers for learning. Thank you.